downstream media, it's like a term, it's a Balajism, explaining or meaning that currently the mainstream media are turning into downstream media because they are increasingly downstream of the internet, and the main conversation is happening on Twitter, and mainstream media are just like commenting on it, or they are like influenced by what's happening on Twitter, so if like lots of people, like some online mob asks for something, it's like I don't know, they demand, like the Twitter demands or some loud people on Twitter demands, like these two editors at New York Times get fired. So actually then they get fired. So it means like yeah, they're downstream, increasingly downstream of Twitter, and actually their content, it's like their political content, it's like becoming like wrappers around tweets. So.
Hello, welcome back to Mtambo's Desk, a weekly podcast covering deep conversations on technology, philosophy, complex science, and cryptocurrency. My name is Duke Mtambo, and the following is a conversation with Jakub Szymek, a co-founder of Wezesha DAO and an author of Wisdom Enterprising. In today's episode, I'll be talking to Jakub Szymek about his article, Mainstream Media, under the daily Balajisms series. And now, dear friends, here is Jakub Szymek. Jakub, thank you for joining me again.
Hi, Duke. It's always a pleasure. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Okay. Before we dive into this, can you please explain how Balaji Srinivasan sees mainstream media as downstream media?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like Balaji Srinivasan talks quite a lot about the media, especially NYT. It's like one of his like tripolar, he calls it tripolar moment or three power attractors. So it's like NYT, CCP, and BTC. So or one can say like soft power, hard power, and smart power. So it's like BTC is like smart power or money power. Soft power, it's like NYT as a like prestige press, one of the most, or maybe the most prestigious news outlet there. And hard power, it's like CCP because they are able to build in the physical world like magnitudes faster than their Western competitors. Like currently, like they can build cities, railways, and etc. So on downstream media, it's like a term, it's a Balajism, explaining or meaning that currently the mainstream media are turning into downstream media because they are increasingly downstream of the internet, and the main conversation is happening on Twitter, and mainstream media are just like commenting on it, or they are like influenced by what's happening on Twitter, so if like lots of people, like some online mob asks for something, it's like I don't know, they demand, like the Twitter demands or some loud people on Twitter demands, like these two editors at New York Times get fired. So actually then they get fired. So it means like yeah, they're downstream, increasingly downstream of Twitter, and actually their content, it's like their political content, it's like becoming like wrappers around tweets. So in the same way we discussed last time, it's like in the same way as I don't know, sports articles became wrappers around like the box scores. Then financial articles are like wrappers around ticker symbols or stock symbols. And yeah, so in this way, also political articles are becoming like wrappers around tweets, tweets of politicians. So yeah, that's one way how to describe it.
Okay, that's a pretty bold statement. Can you also explain more about the trend of mainstream media being disrupted by technology and how it relates to the current political polarization?
Yeah, so there's this graph with like a great media disruption that shows like the media pre-internet, not pre-internet, but pre-social media and pre-Google News. They had like a revenue of like 67 billion, and it collapsed down to like 17 billion, like the subscriptions and like people stopped kind of buying papers, and they're just like, I don't know. But actually, for example, New York Times, they're still doing good, well, like meaning like, okay, they have their subscribers. But what changed was the content. They went through this like kind of neutral sounding, um, in the middle, like or it's called like out of nowhere. The viewpoint out view out of nowhere, and neutral kind of sounding journalism into like it's a term called like yellow journalism or tabloid journalism, which is like with a strong political bias. So like subscribers demand that you choose and you pick sides. You can't be just like neutral, but like if majority of your subscribers are Democrats, then you kind of like are biased towards them. Otherwise, they're very loud on Twitter, and they're like, yeah, we are canceling our subscriptions and like something. But like what I previously said, like these two editors at New York Times, they were really fired. It was like during the Black Lives Matter riots in 2020, and I think they like just like wrote something like army should be called to kind of like to restore order or something like that, and they got quite a strong pushback, and just not commenting on the issue, but like on just like this is like one of the arguments or like points, proof points that Twitter is like upstream of mainstream media, so they're downstream media. That's like one. On Ukraine, you can also see like there is like it's just like John Robb calls this kind of phenomenon swarm behavior, like an online swarm. It's like some other people call it egregore. It's like something like it has a mind of its own. It's like many minds together, competing for the mind share in the noosphere. It's like the sphere of the minds. It's like geosphere. You have like the geographic sphere, and noosphere. It's like the sphere of minds, and also the Balajism. Another Balajism is social war. So like this social war, it's happening on social media, and people just like basically try to either cancel the other side or turn, let's say, red to blue or blue to red. So you want to turn the node into your team, into your color, by, I don't know, silencing them or pressuring them or trying to change their mind and like, I don't know, implant your memes into their heads, something like that. Yeah. So, but it's many of these phenomena are just like happening online, and then the media are commenting on it. So they're either late to the party or their vocabulary. There is another also, as Paul Graham has it, and it's like the explosion of these kind of woke words, or like there are like I don't know, like 30 graphs like that, like a hockey stick, like going like up totally vertical, like the use of, I don't know, let's say the words like oppression or like, I don't know, cis, or something like gender, or like like lots of these words, like I don't know, over 10 or 15 years, they totally like went up, like they were, I mean, they were like before in academia, like, I don't know, and in the US or French or something academia, and then they went totally vertical because like they sell, so that's the idea is just like all these kind of like what Scott Alexander calls like scissor statements, but they're like, you want to get like people fight each other, and you want you want something controversial because like what the bleeds when it bleeds it leads. So you want some like fights, so people fight over like I don't know something. So you want to be edgy in a way, yeah, just like yeah. So this has happened because the print media were disrupted, so they were selling their newspapers. And now I don't know, like I think my kid doesn't know what what the proper newspaper is, like maybe just we get some, I don't know, something from a grocery store, like where you have some leaflet with the groceries, but I think she hasn't seen the newspaper yet, which is sad actually. But yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, okay. You also mentioned Balaji's predictions about the impact of AI on media and Hollywood. Can you tell us more about that?
Okay, so we discussed how like anyone now can use ChatGPT to create similar clickbait than in New York Times like sometimes creates, like just like opining about I don't know, tech bros, or like like yeah, clickbait or hate against I don't know, tech companies and tech founders. Who are actually their competitors, so they are kind of they will be biased, because the tech companies stole advertisers from this print media, they disrupted them a lot. And also like as a result, all this kind of social war, this conflict on social media, and the use of these like woke words kind of went vertical. So but you can also use soon not like centralized or decentralized AI or open source AI like Stable Diffusion, also to create visual art. I mean, you can do it now, but you could soon also do video, like AI video. And this can disrupt Hollywood. Also, currently you can write script with ChatGPT or like similar tools. You can write scripts, so it's and so basically on a like a higher level, and we discussed it before, like in this kind of article, like centralized AI is unethical, like inherently, because you don't want some people in Brooklyn, like, or some well-educated few elites to control the narrative for the whole world. So as Chimamanda Adichie said that she called in her talk, she called it the danger of a single story, like you don't want to, I don't know, portray, let's say, Africans only as like, or Africa as a place of poverty and catastrophe, but you want to like paint many different pictures, like we discussed this like bright sun versus black mirror. So like people like, let's say, in Slovakia or Nigeria or Kenya have different attitudes towards technology, because our lives improved with mobile phones and with technology, and Kenyans came up with mobile banking, and you used it like 17 years prior to us with the M-Pesa and stuff like that. And you don't want to have, like, let's say, someone who has a totally different life experience. Let's say their lives were disrupted by technology because they had a stable job at some US media, and now I don't know, now they have to produce more articles, or they have to produce clickbait instead of something like more serious. And they are bitter because, let's say, their schoolmates who went into tech are earning more than them or something like that. And you don't want only like this type of stories, but you want, let's say, have like not just like one movie like Limitless, or one series like Limitless that is like technologically progressive, but you want to have, like, I don't know, hundreds or thousands of these stories. And or Super 30, Balaji talks about this like Indian movie, which is like totally different, like than the mainstream, like, I don't know, Hollywood movies that are like pessimistic about technology or about tech education, STEM education. So this like Super 30, like, I don't know, motivates kids to become engineers, and like yeah. So yeah, so you can have like loads of you can have anyone create stories, so you are using ChatGPT. Actually, I'm using Stable Diffusion, for the visual art, like for my articles. But I still, after all these like 3 weeks or 1 month or what we, or even more, like I still didn't get into ChatGPT 3 properly, because I didn't know the use case for it. But like maybe as we discussed previously, like this article of yours or something, and yeah, maybe use it as well. Just like I need some forcing function, like what I want to use it for, and once I start using it. So I was installing it a couple of times, but it had some like issues. Maybe the servers were overloaded, and then I was like, okay, I have like a Stable Diffusion, like this playground AI on always open, like, and I use it daily. So, but the ChatGPT, I'm still like a Luddite, like a person who is like, I don't know, without technology or something. I'm still like, yeah, I need to get into it.
Okay, yeah, you should. Well, before we wrap up, Jakub, I wanted to ask you about Balaji's position on the role of technology in shaping the future of media. Can you explain how he sees technology as a tool for creating a more accurate representation of the truth?
Right. So he has like this kind of idea of the ledger of record, which is like an alternative to the paper of record, which is like NYT. When we discussed this Gell-Mann amnesia, how they can kind of they could not trick, but they could like have like they could get away with the shoddy work, because expert was reading like one article and he or she disagreed with it because she understood the topic. She was like the domain expertise there, where what she had like disagreed with. Disagreed that the article was like totally like not was subpar compared to let's say the expert knowledge, but normal person couldn't have expertise in many areas, but like thanks to social media people can compare notes, right? So but instead of like this argument from authority, which is like the prestige press or the prestige institutions or the academia, is just like, because let's say Nature published some article doesn't mean that the article is true, or if the some let's say science paper has many citations, it doesn't mean that that paper is it's true. It's just like, it's just what actually Balaji considers to be true. Let's say scientifically, it's something like if it has like the number of independent replications. So it's like it's not the number of citations, but the number of independent replications. And similarly, like with the ledger of record, you can it's basically, it's kind of starts with the BTC, like Bitcoin, Bitcoin as a truth machine. So it's also a name of the book, the truth machine. And basically, Bitcoin is interesting not just because it's like a cryptocurrency, but it's also the first crypto history. It's like a financial crypto history. Okay, it might be boring for some people. It's just like transactions, But what is interesting is that it's underpinned by math and not by violence. So it's like the money underpinned by mathematics, and not like the fiat money that is backed by men with guns, as Paul Krugman said, and Balaji quotes him quite often. So, and basically the argument from authority is the same. It's like you have the truth, official truth, provided by, let's say, the centralized media, the now downstream media, but still it's like still it's open. It's like you have the Twitter. Sometimes Twitter is upstream of current media discussions. But we have also, like with Twitter files, we've seen like all kind of shenanigans and all kind of like attempts to manipulate social media by the security state and agencies, and also, let's say, the traditional media, or the the mainstream media or downstream media, yeah, the prestige press. So you have like this game of between like the new counter elites and the old elites, and this kind of fight. But anyhow, yeah. Yeah, so you want basically you have this truth machine, which was only for the financial records of financial history of, let's say, Bitcoin transactions. But what is interesting is that you, with Bitcoin, you can have like sworn enemies that actually agree on the state of their holdings in BTC and of their transactions, you know. So you can have, I don't know, yeah, countries that are, or citizens of countries that really don't like each other, just like, but they can all agree, let's say, that okay, who holds what Bitcoin and who sent what Bitcoin to whom at what time, you know. So it's like these metadata are on the Bitcoin ledger distributed, and I guess they're also in space, you know. And this kind of crypto history will survive, I don't know, could survive like a nuclear, I don't know, catastrophe or something, and can be censored, you know. You can't get like all the computers and delete all the ledgers because they're distributed. So, and the same idea can be then expanded to other domains. So you can have like a proof of location, proof of identity. You can, yeah, and similar proofs like that. So it doesn't need to be just like a proof of financial transaction or something, but you can expand this crypto history proof that like two people met, you know, and they exchange something, they like cryptographically sign something. You can like have like a proof of vote, you know. So it's like you can count votes like kind of automatically. Yeah, and many you can expand this, and with decentralized social media like Farcaster, DSO, Mirror, and some others. You will soon get a lot of content, not just like financial transactions, but a lot of other content. Also with DeFi, a lot of content that actually can be cryptographically verified. So it's like Balaji talks about like cryptographically verifiable macro history. It's like this concept of this crypto history, and the ledger of record is uses blockchains and crypto oracles. And actually, the oracle problem is still unsolved, as far as I know. I'm not an expert in this, but it's unsolved with the blockchains. So it's like the people who are reporting this data to blockchains. But what is solved definitely, I mean, it's all about them, their reputation. Also, Balaji talks about it, the reputation of these crypto oracles. But what the blockchains can provide is like that they can, if once these data are put on chain, you can verify like who put it when, what did they shared, and you know, and you can't just delete or censor it, you know. So at least, you know, like let's say somebody put this photo, or somebody signed this and that on that date, and it was signed by this wallet, this identity. So yeah, and so like Chainlink together with Chainlink, and actually AP, okay, maybe this is how it fits with the media. AP is like Associated Press. Actually, they published they published the tweet, also referring to the Balaji, that they're using his concept, the ledger of record together with Chainlink. So yeah, if you like search it on Twitter, like AP Chainlink Balaji, you will find it. So it's quite interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
so actually, so like just to kind of like make it clear. So okay, this is not just like some definitely it's like some futuristic kind of stuff, you know, like discussing what can be like with this ledger of record or something. Once the decentralized social media became mainstream, then you will see lots of this, like I don't know, like on-chain, something like on-chain Twitter, but like it's closer than we think, like this discussion, because you can see like the AP, like Associated Press, which is actually quite a big, you know, it's like Reuters and AP, working on this and actually explicitly quoting Balaji, you know, and training. Yeah, so
Okay.
it's interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. Thank you, Yakub, for sharing your insights on this topic. It's been great having you on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Duke. It's my pleasure always.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. If you enjoyed listening to Mtambo's Desk podcast, don't forget to subscribe, give this episode a thumbs up, and be sure to come back next week for another episode. Until then, this is Duke Mtambo, and don't forget to do good always.